Hello, everybody. Today I'm talking about Jupiter Mahadasha. This is part of the Vimshottari Dasha Masterclass. And Vimshottari Dasha is the premier way of judging time in Vedic astrology and how to understand the Jupiter Mahadasha, what to do about it. Hello, I'm Komilla Sutton, and we are talking about Jupiter Mahadasha. And do remember to subscribe, press the bell notification. And Jupiter Mahadasha is part of the Vimshottari Dasha Masterclass. I have been doing all the various dashas and do check out the other ones as well. Basic aspect of Jupiter, the Mahadasha lasts 16 years and it follows on from Rahu Mahadasha. So one of the greatest pleasures of Jupiter Mahadasha is that it is going to be much easier than Rahu. 18 years of Rahu Dasha, 16 years of Jupiter Dasha. So there's a relaxed energy because Jupiter is a natural benefic planet. Now, in Vedic astrology, we divide the planets to malefic and benefic. Now, the malefic planets are much more demanding from you. And also in Rahu's case, it was more shadowy, is more dissatisfying. And so suddenly Jupiter coming, he's the guru, he's a good energy, even if he is not the best planet for your ascendant. We decide from the ascendant what is the best planet, what is the not so good planet for each lagna. However, what you have to think about it is that it is what dasha you're in. So trying to think whether it's negative or positive is not necessarily the right way of thinking. You have to think, this is where I am, this is the energy that is there for me, how to best deal with it. So Jupiter will last for 16 years, so it's a good chunk of time, and it will have its 9 sub-periods that are known as bhuktis or antaras. So I'll go through each one of those sub-periods. So first thing that you want to see when you're looking at the new dasha is what is the dignity of the planet. And 3 important things you want to see. It is dignity. Is it exalted, debilitated? There are 2 yogas that Jupiter can create. Hamsa Mahapurusha Yoga, that means it's exalted own sign in Kendra houses. Or it also Gaja Kesari Yoga, Moon and Jupiter in certain combinations. Then there may be other yogas that Jupiter is participating in, and you can look at that. And then the overall dignity, if the planet is debilitated, it's more complex to deal with. Then second aspect you want to see is what is the house position of Jupiter. Generally, 6, 8, and 12 house is more difficult. These are called dushtana. So if Jupiter is any one of those 3 positions, that is not the best position. That means that definitely you need to do some remedy. You need to be conscious of it. Third house is regarded as a difficult position for Jupiter because it is Marana Karaka Sthana. However, you must realize that none of these positions is all negative because Jupiter may be placed in different houses from the moon. Jupiter may be placed in, different houses from the sun. Every house has got its positive, negative energy. So don't just think that, oh, this is going to be all very difficult. It is also Jupiter is not the best planet for Taurus, Libra, Capricorn, and Aquarius. However, for Aquarius, it rules the 2 wealth houses. 2nd and 11th, but still it's a less than perfect energy. But as I said, that you have to be aware that this is what it is, and we have to deal with how this planet is dealing with us. Then for Gemini and Virgo, Jupiter is the Badhaka planet, so it can create some blocks, some difficulties. So, there's all this information that you are collecting about your Mahadasha Lord. You can also look at the Vargas to see where he's strong, where their challenges are placed. Then the final thing that you're looking at is that what are the conjunctions to Jupiter? Is Jupiter in any of the challenging conjunctions, which would be with Saturn, with Ketu, with Rahu? Jupiter Rahu is Guru Chandala Yoga, but Jupiter Rahu, if you have together, means that Rahu and Jupiter both are similar dashas, so you have having one after the other similar issues that you are dealing with. So, but if any difficult conjunctions are there, then you have to see that dasha and bhukti. So the main dasha, sub-dasha. So suppose you have Jupiter-Ketu conjunction, then in Jupiter and Ketu time period, then that conjunction is getting fructified, it is getting ready for you to experience it. But overall, Sage Parashar has said that Jupiter being a natural benefic, even for those of you who it is a difficult planet, he has a lot of good stuff to give you. And Jupiter is the guru, so knowledge, wisdom, that is part of this experience. Then Jupiter is also the Karaka for children. So during Jupiter Dasha, if you are certain age, then children can be born. Jupiter's Karaka for husband. So do study the Karakas as well, and accordingly it will give the results. But as you start the new dasha, it is important to remember that your new energy is coming to fore, and so it is important to see that how this new dasha is for you, and take some time to adjust to the new dasha. And same as you are ending Jupiter dasha, to be conscious of that as well. So towards the end of the video, I will talk about remedies too. One of the things you want to see with the Dasha Bhuktis are that how the planets are placed from Jupiter's point of view. So any planet that is 6th, 8th or 12th from Jupiter, you can expect that their Dasha can be slightly unsettling. And so that is one of the key points that you are looking at when you are analyzing the Dasha. Secondly, it is important to know that even if it's unsettling and you know it's unsettling, then be patient during that time, because otherwise you can unsettle yourself a lot. So how does this affect? So the first and most important thing is that you are looking at all the sub-periods. So there are 9 sub-periods during the dasha. So the start of the dasha is Jupiter. That is really nice because Jupiter is coming into its own. It's a new energy just after Rahu. So you can suddenly feel much easier. A lot of people who tell me about the start of their Jupiter dasha, they all say, oh, my mind, I feel more relaxed about it. It's much easier. It's more positive, optimistic. I think you have to be careful if Jupiter is not the best planet for you, that you may have a tendency to take wrong advice. And so be cautious about that. So double check any advice you're taking. Then Jupiter, Saturn. Saturn always restricts Jupiter. However, Saturn-Jupiter can be quite a positive dasha because Saturn is very industrious. He wants to organize everything. Jupiter is not always the best organizer. He's got all ideas. So Saturn dasha can look at where the energy is and organize you. Of course, with each of the sub-periods, you have to watch how the ruler is placed. So how Saturn is placed from Jupiter, if the Saturn, Jupiter 6, 8, 12 from each other, then it is more complex energy. However, Jupiter, Saturn can give a good balance of positive energy as well as some restrictions so that you organize yourself. Jupiter, Mercury. Mercury is more intellectual ideas. He wants to explore. They are two benefic planets. So Jupiter, Mercury can be very positive, lots of new ideas, thinking. Mercury also, wants to explore. And this is generally a positive period for you. Jupiter Ketu. Now, Ketu can bring astrology into your life, more spirituality into your life. According to the Puranic stories, that sage Gemini, who is of the Gemini Sutra, is born to Ketu's lineage. And Guru Ketu together, even if you don't have a combination in your chart, can give you this great interest in Jyotish. Myself, I started my study so far away, 1979, I was in Jupiter Ketu. And it was like sudden passion that came. So think every time Ketu comes in, one should not think about more material things, but spiritual. And, it could be yoga, it could be philosophy, it could be other areas of spiritual life that Ketu. What you have to be careful with Jupiter Ketu is that you're not rejecting everything. So that is very important to pay attention to. Then Jupiter, Venus. Now, Venus and Jupiter are regarded as two gurus, and they think opposite ideas. So, Jupiter, Venus, both benefics, but can be too much of a good thing. Also, you can feel contradictory energies. That means you are getting two different advisors. You may be studying two different things. You may be following two different gurus, not know how to get a balance between them. So, it is important to understand that these are diverse ideas, and while it is good to follow the diversity, it can also be confusing. Jupiter, Sun. Jupiter and Sun are very friendly, good planets to each other. So generally, this will be a good dasha. What I find is that when the lordships are friendly, you can see that from natural friends relationship, that those dasha bhuktis are very easy to consume or to experience because they are naturally friendly to each other. So they don't bring any friction into the fore. But Sun can also give ideas about organization, about ego, about wanting to develop yourself. Jupiter Moon, that is really good, especially if you have Gaja Kesari Yoga. If you have Gaja Kesari Yoga in your chart, then Jupiter Moon can be really positive. But if you have the opposite Sakata Yoga is when Jupiter Moon are 6, 8, 12 from each other, then this can bring big change and unsettled energy. So you have to look at how the moon is in your chart to Jupiter. And but otherwise, Jupiter, Moon are friends to each other, so they tend to enhance ideas and knowledge. Moon is the mind, Jupiter is wisdom, so the mind feels calm with it. And if you have Gaja Kesari Yoga, this can give you many opportunities. Jupiter, Mars, again, Jupiter and Mars are friends, so they will work for each other. Mars gives courage, confidence to make things happen, to develop yourself. Then we come to Jupiter Rahu. Now, this is the end of Jupiter Dasha. As you are ending the Jupiter Dasha, you come to Jupiter Rahu. This is called Chidra Dasha. It is not the easiest energy because you feel, I haven't done enough in my 15 odd years of Jupiter Dasha, I should do more. A lot of people take risks during Jupiter Rahu. So be very cautious and careful about it, because remember, the next Dasha is Saturn, and Saturn will be way more different, and also more planned and organized, and any risk, anything you do over the top you have to experience that in Saturn. Secondly, what I feel is as the dashas are ending, you're coming into a new energy. You don't want to make decisions in the old mindset. You want to go to the new mindset. And so it is best to wait, not to take risks at all. That is the big thing with Jupiter Rahu. And being a Chidra Dasha, especially as you go towards the end, you are being very cautious and careful. So what is the remedy that you can take? Now, in the remedies, you have to be very aware. When you're studying time, you should see what planets are strong for you. You know that already. So the planets that are weak in your chart, either by dignity, debilitated, with difficult conjunctions in Dushtana houses, those need remedies when their time comes. But then there's something else that you have to pay attention, is that you need to look at how these planets are placed from Jupiter. And how they are placed from Jupiter is very important, because if they are placed in 6th, 8th, 12th from Jupiter, then also those dashas will be challenging and complex. So you turn the chart around and look at everything from Jupiter's point of view. But from Jupiter, sometimes you may see that other yogas are emerging as well. So for example, from Jupiter, you have Saturn in Libra and goes into the 4th house from Jupiter. It may not be 4th house from the Lagna. So Jupiter Saturn Dasha can give Sasha Mahapurusha yoga energy. So, you know, that different point of view is very important to look at. And so Jupiter is the guru, so you have to honor the guru, you know, respect the guru. You can do the Thursday is the day, so you can make some donation, karma yoga on Thursday, that is the day for Jupiter. You can donate money, that is always good. Donate food. Chickpea or garbanzo beans is the lentil for Jupiter. That is something you can donate to people. Food is always a good donation. And that's also a celebration of Jupiter. I'm wearing yellow. The color yellow is good for Jupiter to wear if you need confidence. And then you can also, the deity for Jupiter is Lord Shiva. Brahma is the deity, but Lord Shiva is worshipped. So you can think about Lord Shiva, and you can also chant the mantra, Om Guruve Namaha. Om Guruve Namaha. Om Guruve Namaha. There are more mantras. I've given the Gayatri mantra. I'll be adding more mantras. You can listen to them. Mantra chanting is very good that you can do. And, you know, I would say most important during Jupiter Dasha is honor knowledge, honor wisdom, those people who are your teachers, advisors. Even in your mind, you should honor them. And studying is good during Jupiter Dasha because Jupiter is the gurus from time immemorial. So thank you very much. Do remember to subscribe.